Am I the asshole? For not letting a stranger pick apples in my backyard without paying me. So, am I the asshole? For not letting a stranger come into my backyard to pick food for free to take it home without paying me for it? Not the asshole. This was an entitled crazy person. You'd have been taking a big risk if you'd said yes, because letting a crazy person onto your property can lead to bigger issues. Next post entitled "Stranger fell in my yard while stealing apples from my tree. Now they're suing me." Not the asshole. Not the asshole. You don't owe anyone free things. Owning something means you have complete control over the use and distribution of it. If she was politer, of offered to split what she picked with you, perhaps. But her demanding your property just makes her an entitled and nothing else. You're not the asshole, but you might be living in an 80s movie. You see, that was no ordinary apple hag. This was a test. She'll visit you thrice. And each time, she'll ask for something you hold even more dear than her last request. You should have given the witch her apples. Not the asshole, but we all know there's no happy ending here for Op. Not the asshole, no is a full sentence. You were at work and didn't need to be bothered. She's lucky she didn't get a door slammed in her face after the first time working. Not the asshole, but I think you might be TA to yourself if this is an example of how you say no to people. No is the entire answer and doesn't need to be followed up with anything. She asks, you say, "Have a great day," and close the door. There was no need for any further conversation. No, not the asshole. Her behavior was very entitled and weird. You were more patient than I would have been. After the second no, I'd be closing the door and reporting her for trespassing if she didn't move along. No, you don't owe her anything. And I don't know how it is where you live, but here you can get apples anywhere for free. So many people have them free to pick up, so why is she acting like you are the only source of apples? We'd also not have let her on my property. Not the asshole. And next time that happens, if it does, don't hesitate to shut the door in the person's face. That's exactly what I would have done after saying one time, "It's not a good time, I am busy working." Not the asshole. Sheesh, it sounds like all you wanted was for her to ask when would be a good time. If another time wasn't convenient for her, she should have just shrugged and told herself, oh well, this one didn't work out. You don't owe her access to your apples regardless, but the entitlement of expecting to either let her pick unsupervised and possibly be left with nothing, or damage to your tree, or drop everything to come keep an eye on her when you had other things you needed to do is beyond rude. Not the asshole. You're my hero. I would have told something over $100 just so she'd SDF you and leave. Do you have cameras? I'd be concerned about her stopping by again, given her response and audacious behavior. If she does, tell her you'll report her for trespassing on your private property and harassment if she comes to your home again, and shut the door in her face. Not the asshole. She was rude and pushy. What fresh duck is that? Not the asshole. Also, next time maybe tell random weirdos who try to force themselves onto your property that you'll call the cops on them if they refuse to leave. But I get that this was weird and out of left field. The sheer entitlement. Sheesh. Not the asshole. Is this woman from Earth? On what planet do you get to act mad because someone won't let you come into their backyard and take their stuff? Not the asshole. And what if she's injured while picking your apples? I would have slammed the door in her face the first time she started arguing. Not the asshole. You are not obligated to share anything or invite strangers into your yard. Not to mention, she could have been up to something else and used the apples as a decoy. Not the asshole. Your property, your choice. Doesn't matter what you do, if anything, with the apples. Don't listen to the people calling you an R. Some of them seem just as unhinged and entitled as the lady who came to your door. Not the asshole. Is no one going to mention that this is a tactic used by some burglars to scout out houses? Unlikely, but possible. That's just one illustration of why letting her in could have been bad. LOL, wow, that's crazy, not the asshole at all. The nerve of this person. The entitlement is wild. The fact that she just kept ringing your doorbell too. I would have told her to get off my property immediately for that reason alone. Not the asshole. Not the asshole, and yes, you had a meeting, but this is the point: you call the police and make a report for harassment. Not the asshole. They're your apples, on your property. It doesn't matter what you're going to do with them, and despite some delusions created by people's worries surrounding food waste, the apples on your tree spoiling without being eaten is not some grave tragedy. The simple fact is this woman has zero right to even demand this, much less suggest she's owed for helping you. Sounds like she was just a greedy rando and is used to fast-talking people out of their stuff. Release the hounds, keep your gate locked. Not the asshole. I cry inside when I see fruit-laden trees where the fruit is rotting on the tree. If I see my neighbors with fruit-bearing trees outside, I ask if they share. I never knock on their doors. I take no for an answer. Not the asshole. My dad goes apple collecting every fall to make his annual 100 gallons of cider. Yeah, he's a bit nuts, lol, but he always offers to bring anyone who gives apples some cider. And while he's kooky, he's not a rude idiot, unlike the lady in this story. Not the asshole. Threaten police for trespassing as well in the future. That's just plain weird of her and borderline harassment. So glad you lock your gate. How did she know it was not been? You would have seen her picking your apples. Sounds like the kind of person who lives in a bucolic Instagram fantasy village and can't tolerate any contradiction of it. She tried the gate. Not the asshole. Groceries are dumb expensive right now. I hope you got her plate number. You haven't seen the last of her. But you spoke to her too long. After the fullest no, you should have closed the door and went back to work. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. That was great. She interrupts your work, but you get that entitled old bat so mad she flips you the bird. Not the asshole. They're your apples in your yard. Tell her to leave or you're calling the police. Not the asshole in this situation, but she was right in that many people have to pay to have rotting fruit removed, and food waste sucks. In theory, I love the idea that someone could use that fruit to make something wonderful and save both money and waste. My parents have tons of fruit trees and they normally spend a lot of time picking and trying to find a place to give it away so it won't go bad. Someone doing that labor for them would be great. But she was a stranger and weird and pushy. Not the asshole. It was a bad time. Maybe you would have let her at a time you could supervise, but she pushed the issue. Not the asshole. I put the surplus fruit and veggies in a basket out front for people. They're most definitely not welcome to come into my backyard to pick their own when they're randomly driving by. Not the asshole. She being an entitled Even if she wasn't, it's your property, your apples, and you don't have to let a random person onto your property if you don't want to. Not the asshole. I worked online for 21 years in live classes. Occasionally someone would call or knock on my door. My response was, I am sorry. Can't talk now. Please call later. Thank you. Bye. Not the asshole. You were much more polite than I would have been. She'd have gotten a very blunt request to leave, quickly followed by the invitation to FK off. Not the asshole. This crazy lady would likely have stripped the tree bare if she got a chance, then sold them or something. Not the asshole. You should post this on our entitled bitch. No. Not the asshole. I wouldn't have answered the door. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. There have been stories on here where the OP wasn't super willing but allowed it anyways, and they wound up with every single piece of fruit gone from their trees. Not the asshole at all. It's private property and it has actual value. Not the asshole. Next time tell her she's trespassing and your next action will be to call the police.